It took me a while after visiting Auschwitz and Birkenau to put this episode together. I wondered how could I do justice to such a solemn place that the other videos and shows haven't already done. So after many months of ruminating over it, I thought the best thing I can do for you, the viewer, is to help you get the absolute most out of what may be your one and only visit. So here are 10 things you need to know to get the most out of visiting the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration and extermination camps. So we arrived to Auschwitz after about a 2.5 hour drive out of Krakow. There's several ways to approach Auschwitz. You could do it from Krakow, you could do it from some other towns. For us, I opted to get a full tour. So they pick me up at the hotel, and I go around and they pick up other people throughout the city of Krakow, and then we take off. Okay, so this looks like it's the entrance, but our group consists of about 15 people. It looks like most of them are from England. In fact, all of them are from England. So our driver said, hey, take 10 minutes to go to the bathroom, grab some coffee, do something like that, and then meet him back there. I think he needed some time to find our tour guide. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab some coffee. As you come through the gates, you go through several metal detectors, and then you go through some checks. And again, we strongly recommend that you pay the money to go with a tour group. They speed you through to the front of the line, and then you come out at the start of the tour. Auschwitz concentration camp, also known in German as Konzentrationslager Auschwitz, which was also known as KL Auschwitz or KZ Auschwitz, was a complex of over 40 concentration and extermination camps. It consisted of Auschwitz I, the main camp, which had the first gas chambers and crematoriums, Auschwitz II, Birkenau, which took concentration and extermination to an industrial and unimaginable level that was only 3 kilometers away. And of course, there were the 38 or more sub-camps which dealt in forced labor, experimentation, and torture. The camps became a major site of the Nazis' final solution to the Jewish question. In 1939, early in the war, the German SS converted Auschwitz early on as a prisoner of war camp. It was a pre-war Polish army barracks. The bulk of inmates at that time were Polish people from the occupied country for the first 2 years. The first gassings of Soviet and Polish prisoners took place around August 1941, and it was a messy, almost experimental affair. Construction of Auschwitz II began from 1942 until late 1944. Freight trains delivered Jews from all over German-occupied Europe to its gas chambers. Of the 1.3 million people sent to Auschwitz, 1.1 million were murdered. Those not gassed were murdered via starvation, exhaustion, disease, individual executions, or beatings. Others were killed during medical experiments. I don't mean this trivially, but the model for gathering and killing innocent people was a model that would make Amazon look like a mom-and-pop store. The Nazis gathered Jews, Poles, Soviet prisoners, gypsies, and anyone they deemed undesirable into subcamps from all over occupied Europe and systematically shipped them to Auschwitz and Birkenau for gassing, murder, and forced labor. After about 2 hours at Auschwitz, the now stunned group loaded the bus for the short ride to the front gate of Auschwitz II, commonly called Birkenau. It's generally accepted that when Hitler's final solution went into full swing, on average between 1942 and 1944, about 1,000 people were murdered and their bodies burned every day. When prisoners arrived at Birkenau and the train pulled through the gate arches, after the civilians were stripped and pillaged of all their belongings, if they were told to go right, they went to the labor camp. If they went left, they went directly to the gas chambers. Let's listen in to our guide and what she has to say about all of that.
In this crematorium, there were 5,000 people. In this crematorium, every day, we could burn around 1,500 corpses. For 20 minutes, it took them to kill 2,000 of them inside of the gas chamber. For the whole day and night, they were able to burn around 1,500 corpses. That's why in the middle of 1944, when Nazis started extermination of Hungarian Jews in Auschwitz, efficiency of large crematoria weren't enough to dispose all the corpses. Nazis had to burn corpses in the forest, behind you, under the open sky. Because they were killing more people in the gas chambers, and then they could burn in 4 large crematorias for the whole day and night. Other prisoners who were locked inside of the camp couldn't see anything, but according to the survivors, they could smell the burning. We are now inside of the barrack. It was intended for living. It was built without any foundation. Initially, prisoners didn't have any floor inside of the barrack. Floor was replaced later for them with small layer of concrete or brick, but those women who were locked here at the beginning, they remember they got too mad up to their knees. Each of the brick barrack around you is original one. Each of them had the windows, but they couldn't open the windows. There were skylights, chimneys from the oven, and then each of the big barracks was intended for 700 women, but most of the time, more than 1,000 of them were locked inside of the barrack. Inside barrack was divided into 60 3-bed bunks. Each of the sleeping levels was intended for 4 women, but usually 6 or 7 had to sleep on each sleeping level because there were more than 700 inside. Women slept on the plank because they didn't have any mattresses. Sometimes they had only straw on the plank and slept on the straw. They had only blankets for covering up, even winter time. Inside of each barrack, there were 2 ovens. All the chimneys you could see outside are chimneys from the ovens, from inside of the barracks. But according to the survivors, the ovens were used very rarely because very rarely they got any coal, any fuel to warm inside of the barracks. Inside of the barrack, women didn't have any toilets and didn't have any washroom. This door behind you was always locked at night. They couldn't leave the barrack for the whole night. If they needed to go to the toilet, inside of the barrack, there were 2 buckets left for at least 700 of them. They also couldn't leave the barrack. They had to release themselves wherever they were sitting or standing. So those women who survived, remember the worst area, it was always the bottom area. Because it was always mud inside. Because of the dead honey from the top areas. Inside of each barrack, there were rats running and other insects.
These obelisks serve as markers for the hundreds of thousands of human ashes that are spread throughout the Birkenau camp. The river that runs behind the camp was clogged with ashes. This small body of water used to be a small lake that was completely filled with ashes. The entire grounds are basically one big burial site of ashes. But with that, Auschwitz-Birkenau is not a story of defeat, but a story of triumph, a memorial to those who died, and a tribute to those relative few that lived. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video of value.